Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now KUIU is a company whose products I've come to greatly enjoy, trust, and rely on. Their gear is fantastic. It's, in my opinion, some of the elite gear. It's expensive, but you get what you pay for. In many cases, buy once, cry once mentality. And it just so happened I was actually wearing their hoodie today, and then I looked at it and I'm like, well, and I'm wearing their t-shirts, and well, a lot of times I'll wear their hats. And bottom line is, KUIU has a lot of great products. I love their outerwear, but today we're going to look at their fantastic backpacks here, the Pro 6000. Now, through the years, KUIU has had a number of iterations of their bags. They're not all the same, but they're based on the same principles. Basically, high-performance hunting backpacks. The capability of going deep into the mountains, deep into the wilderness, days on end with all of your hunting gear and bringing back your meat. Basically, anything that you need to do while you're out there, you have to be able to get back. And so KUIU bags have been built to handle that. But for me, I'm not really so much a hunter, but I do appreciate their gear. And well, if I'm going to carry a heavy load into the mountains, it's definitely more enjoyable with a KUIU backpack. And so what we're going to do, we're going to go through this Pro 6000 so you can see all of the features. I brought this out last year for a backpacking trip. I'm going to roll in all that footage so you can see what I do while I'm out there. Then we'll come back to the studio and I'll give you my final thoughts. And so with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, if you like what you see here today, do me a favor. Take a look in the description box below where you can see all the relevant links for where you can get your hands on great KUIU gear. Again, you don't necessarily need to get one of their backpacks. I strongly suggest their outerwear, their inner layers, anything in their apparel lineup is fantastic. So whether backpacks, hats, outerwear, you name it, KUIU has some great products. So take a look in the description box below. Now, as we go through the features on this bag, there are a lot of details to cover. It's going to be pretty in-depth in terms of what this bag is capable. So I'm just going to cover it from my personal experience, which is for the hiking, camping, and backpacking genre. Not so much for hunting. However, this does have, I guess, what I'm going to call meat mode. So you do have the ability to transform this bag from one that's fully attached to the harness system to one that's kind of built off of the frame and buys you room for the meat. So I'm not really going to cover that too much, but do realize that's available. As we go through this bag in detail, again, this is the 6000 bag, which is 6,000 cubic inches, translating to 98 liters. This is a massive bag, but it's not their largest. So keep in mind the fact that this is the Pro series of bags, which is their fully featured bag. And then on top of that, they also have the LT, which is a little more simple. You end up with sizes in the Pro series being a 2300 cubic inch, 3600 cubic inch, this here being the 6000 and a 7800 cubic inch. There are also women's versions, so you have men's and women's. Now, the next thing I need to point out is you can buy this with your size of harness system and frame. So I built this out specific for me. So I picked the bag, again, the Pro 6000. I picked the color on this being the ash and phantom gray. You have all the camo colors also available. Then I bought the harness system. So here, the suspension, this for me is what I bought in the size tall XL. Now you need to be very careful. I'm 6'1" and I'm about 175 pounds, and I have between a 32, 33 inch waist for my pant size typically. And if you look at KUIU's website, they would probably advise that you get the small medium suspension versus the large extra large. But I did get the large extra large for a specific reason. For me personally, I wanted the hip pads to wrap all the way around to the front of my body, all the way around, and I do have just barely the minimum amount of this buckle capable of cinching down. But that's when I'm wearing a t-shirt, and then anytime I bulk up beyond that, it should not be a problem. And then in terms of the frame, and we'll get into the frame itself, but the frame you can get multiple different sizes. So again, you can get a regular frame, which is good for people up to about 5'10", the tall, which is up to around 6'1", and then the XL, which is 6'1 plus. I did get the tall frame. So again, I got the large XL suspension and the tall frame with the 6000 bag. So that's my combination. But getting into the details of the bag itself, everything beautifully made. Now this is in the primary fabric being a 500 denier weight ripstop Cordura nylon. So very nice quality materials all the way around. Name brand products, extremely well made. YKK zippers in all cases, and you'll notice they have inverted zipper tracks. Duraflex buckles, so name brand Duraflex buckles, which are always great. Awesome, positive click, very well made. You can see branded with the KUIU logo. This particular bag here weighing in at 5 pounds, 13.1 ounces. So this is not a light bag by any means, even though it's considered to be an ultralight hunting piece of kit. So a little heavier than some other options out there, but you'll notice that being fully featured does give you these subdivided capabilities inside. And keep in mind the fact that if you went with their Pro LT, a similar sized bag, and it would drop down a little bit, it would be their 5500, would bring it down to 4 pounds, 3.6 ounces. So if you want to shed some weight, go with the Pro LT. Now you'll notice I have everything cinched down real tight. That's one thing I love about this, even though this is a larger bag. And the reason why I went with the larger bag, you can still cinch everything down to a nice tidy package. But as we undo the compression straps here, you'll notice everything starts to open up. So you have your compression straps along the front of the bag, but you also have the compression straps on the side. And that's what really allows this to cinch down nice and tight. So as we open this all up, it's really going to expand the overall capacity to a fairly large bag, all things considered. Down on the bottom here, opening up all these straps, this is really at this point fully expanding, and you'll notice that really goes from a fairly tidy bag to one that's just really large. Again, keep in mind the fact that this is 98 liters. But the 98 liters made up of all the different components within this pack. So the head pack, the interior and exterior pockets, all contributing to that 98 liters. In the head pack here, opening up the top, you'll notice on the inside here, I did keep all of the tags, but you can see here a little bit of a two-tone design where you get just a little bit of trim in there. Nice large pocket right on the outside. This is a very large head pack. This can hold a ton of gear right in the top of the pack. Real convenient, which I do like that. It does tend to bulk up just a little bit, but if you're careful and manage things well, a good amount of gear. And that's also the case in the back. So you have the front of the head pack and the rear of the head pack. Just a huge amount of gear that can fit in here. Just the head pack alone makes up around 13 liters of capacity. So again, very large. You can take it off if you so choose. So as you take a look on the back side, you end up with some of the Duraflex hardware. This can be unclipped and unclipped here, and that head pack will come right off. So that is an accessory that you can choose to remove if you don't need it. Again, you'll notice the main bag fully cinched down here. So opening that up, you have two means of access to the main body of the bag. So you end up with your sort of roll top, or I should say cinch top design. So this can fully be cinched down. You can access everything from the top, or you can get to it from the large opening and almost clamshell design. So as we open up the main zippers here, and opening this up, it will fillet fully open to reveal the inside of the bag. We'll cover that in just a minute. I do want to get through the rest of the exterior pockets. So across the front flap here, you can see nice pocket right in the front. This is kind of where, you know, for me, I would put headlamp or glasses, or even something simple like my keys and wallet, just the basics that I need to keep with me, but I don't need them all the time. So that's that. The other thing you could do is certainly stash those on the inside, but for me, I do like those on the outside of the pack where I can kind of keep track of them. On the sides, this is awesome. I love this pocket. So this here, as we zip this down, is very convenient. You have the ability to get into both sides, so left and right hand side. It is stitched down the middle, but huge, huge pockets here. You can see how large these are. And they're sort of, I guess I would say, gusseted. If you look at the inside, you end up with this extra piece of fabric stitched into the middle, which really does allow these to expand and towards the outside of the bag, which is nice. And when you do that, you can put excellent items. I mean, I could see the hunters putting their bipods or something like that in here. You could certainly also do that on the side of the bag. But for me, what really makes the most sense, this is all of my food. So my food goes right on the outside of the bag where I can get to it easy. A little bit of food in this side, spread out real nice. Little bit of food in this side, spread out real nice, and it balances the load and it doesn't become overly bulky, and I can get to that super quick and easy on the outside of the bag, which is fantastic. I love that about this. And especially with the ability to cinch this down. So again, you can leverage the compression straps to kind of keep everything nice and tight and tidy. That works out well. You'll notice these all have Hypalon reinforcement. So again, nice quality Hypalon box stitching, robust, very well made, and a nice wide attachment point to distribute that load. Here you can see some ladder style webbing, which is really nice. I love the ability to kind of crisscross from one side of the bag to the other. So if you had to add additional webbing or additional attachment points, you certainly can do that, which is really, really nice. And you have some subtle little tabs from place to place. KUIU does have some really super nice straps and accessory straps that go onto these, and it's fantastic. So the ability, again, to tie onto this is great. On the sides of the bag, very large pockets. Now these could double as water bladder pockets if you need to. You do have holes for your hoses to root and port out of there. You end up with basically a large pocket on each side, so one on each side of the bag. And again, these would be great for simple items. You could certainly use these for, your bipod. You could certainly use these for your food. For me, probably gloves, hat, different basic supplies, things that, again, I want to be able to get to these easily on the outside of the bag, but at the same time, I like to maintain a fairly slim profile, so I probably won't bulk these out too much. Again, you'll see a couple different areas where you can route, whether it's hoses for your water bladder or comms or things like that. It's real nice to have the ability to do that with these side pockets, and the fact that it has little zippers built in is pretty nice. So a lot of little features here. Again, you can start to see why this bag adds up in weight over the LT version. You just end up with a lot of extra hardware and a lot of extra features. On both sides, massive, just oversized water bottle pockets. These are awesome, and for me, it's less about the water bottles and more about water bottle, gear, putting multiple things in here. I typically have tripods with me. Again, remember, this is intended for hunting, so the ability to get large pieces of gear in here, that's just awesome. I love this. I love having the oversized water bottle pockets and the ability to cinch them down so they are reinforced, and on the inside you have a shock cord keeper to cinch this all down, keep everything nice and tight. So that's sweet. Moving to the inside of the bag, pretty straightforward, yet again fully featured. So as you look here across the outside flap, some mesh pockets. These are massive, just super large open mesh pockets. Again, keep in mind the fact that a 98-liter bag is going to be a multi-day backpack, a multi-day platform. So to be able to haul all of your gear to camp is critical. That's exactly what I do. I haul my stuff to camp, set up my campsite, and then strip this down and make it a nice light and compact carry for my call it my Summit Assault or something like that. Again, on the sides here, more mesh pockets, fully subdivided, and you end up again with some additional routing for water bladder hoses and things like that. Especially if you're going to put your water bladder on the inside. Now for me, I personally do not do that, but you certainly could. You end up with these mesh pockets on both sides, so pretty straightforward there. And then on the inside, what's also great is you have this multi sort of faceted lashing system. These straps here can come off and you can use them anywhere else on the bag. So if you look at these are super quick and easy. They just connect to these tabs. You simply loop them in and just close that little latch there, and it's pretty simple. And these are very flexible. So if you wanted to lash something to the inside of the pack, you can absolutely do that. Or you can leverage these again on the outside of the pack and take advantage of some of the loops throughout the different various areas on this bag. And they've left you plenty. Going through the suspension system. So here you can see nice wide shoulder straps, well contoured, feeling really comfortable on your shoulders. What makes this fantastic is they're fully adjustable on the frame. So you have the ability to adjust these. You literally peel them off. They have a massive Velcro field, and you peel them off and can adjust them to fit to your exact needs, both in width and also in height. So it does take a little bit of getting used to this pack. It takes a little bit of setup, but not a big deal. Again, you can see nicely featured, lots of little additions here. So certain keepers and little clips, nice straps, the ability to attach things. I love vertical webbing on my straps so I can attach a knife or something like that right on my shoulder for quick access. Then again, full adjustability, load lifter straps. All their straps having these Velcro keepers to keep everything as tidy as possible. Nice grab handle on the back, just good and accessible, everything here. As we work down through the shoulder straps, they do work their way into the back pads. You can see quality ventilation, really nicely made, just premium the way this is made, into a very generous and robust lumbar. And then on top of that, there's an additional pad that could be added into this if you like more lumbar support. I can tell you this is more than enough for me. Keep in mind the fact that, again, I got the larger belt, so I do have a little more padding here all the way around the front of my hips, and I added, and these are an add-on accessory, these front pockets. So on top of all of this, I also have these little pouches here, which is sweet for simple accessories and things right on the front, which is great. You'll notice that the belt does work its way into a very robust lashing system here, so tight to the bag, holds everything very well, good and secure, clips onto the bottom of the pack, and really wraps around wonderfully. Gives us a good, sturdy, and tight fit right around your waist, and really helping to support the load in the rest of the pack, translating from the frame. So everything nice and rigid and robust, yet at the same time has just enough movement to give it some flex and comfort while you're hiking. You'll notice this bag does move just a tiny bit. That is the nature of a modular system, but I think it works out overall very well because it does give it just enough flex and give while you're moving, so it's not completely rigid and yanking you around. Across the front, nice big Duraflex buckle and pull forward to cinch, which is awesome. So the waist belt for me, again, I'll put this on and you'll see, does get pretty close, but I wanted a little more padding all the way around the front of my hips. And what you're not going to see in great detail is the spread toe carbon fiber frame. That is the heart of this entire system. So they call this the Comarat spread toe carbon fiber frame. Again, they've had a couple of different iterations of this, but KUIU bags from the beginning have been built over this nice rigid carbon fiber frame. It's just incredible what these guys do. This is really the rigidity of that entire pack, and you can see under there that carbon fiber. So you can see why this pack ends up just very expensive. A lot of premium materials, a lot of premium features built out around a carbon fiber frame. All the different technology, all the different sort of sizes and the ability to dial this in, that tells you exactly why. With the KUIU lineup and the KUIU packs, you're going to buy once, cry once, but it is well worth it.